Everything you think you know about Adam and Eve is about to change. For centuries, the story of Adam and Eve has been told as a straightforward tale. A serpent deceives humanity, they eat the forbidden fruit, and paradise is lost. End of story, right? But what if I told you this version barely scratches the surface? What if the serpent wasn't just a villain but a character with a much deeper and more complex role in the story of humanity's beginnings? In this video, we're diving deep into the Genesis narrative, uncovering hidden layers in the original Hebrew text, exploring ancient cultural insights, and posing questions that might transform how you see this iconic tale. Let's start with the serpent. In Genesis 3 verse 1, it's described as more cunning than any beast of the field. The Hebrew word here is aram, a term that suggests intelligence, subtlety, and insight, but not necessarily malice. The serpent isn't portrayed as evil outright. Instead, it's something unique, almost otherworldly. The Hebrew word for serpent, nachash, is even more fascinating. While most translations render it as snake, nachash also carries meanings like diviner or enchanter. This hints that the serpent could symbolize knowledge or even supernatural wisdom. Now, think about ancient cultures. In Mesopotamian and Egyptian myths, serpents were revered as symbols of transformation, wisdom, and even immortality. They weren't always seen as deceivers. Could the serpent in Genesis represent these deeper ideas? The serpent's first words to Eve are pivotal. Has God indeed said, "You shall not eat of every tree of the garden"? This wasn't a lie, it was a question. A challenge. It prompted Eve to think critically about God's command. Eve's response is revealing. We may eat the fruit of the trees in the garden, but of the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden, God said, "You shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die." Here's the thing, God never mentioned touching the fruit. That was Eve's addition, possibly reflecting her own uncertainty or an exaggerated understanding of the rule. You will not surely die. For God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. At first glance, this seems like a lie. But is it? When Adam and Eve ate the fruit, they didn't die immediately. Instead, their eyes were opened. They gained a new awareness, a moral understanding of good and evil, just as the serpent said. Eating the fruit wasn't just about disobedience. It marked humanity's transition from innocence to awareness. Adam and Eve were no longer passive beings in a perfect garden. They became active participants in their own story, capable of making choices and living with the consequences. This moment signified the birth of free will, moral responsibility, and self-awareness. Humanity was stepping into a new phase, one where they would have to navigate the complexities of life, good, evil, and everything in between. Here's where things get really interesting. Was the serpent truly evil? Or was it fulfilling a larger, divine purpose? Some scholars suggest that the serpent acted as a catalyst for human growth. By challenging Eve, it forced humanity to confront questions of obedience, curiosity, and the desire for knowledge. This idea isn't unique to the Bible. In Greek mythology, Prometheus defied the gods to bring fire, and with it, knowledge, to humanity. Like the serpent, Prometheus was punished for his actions, but his defiance was also seen as a necessary step in human progress. Could the serpent in Genesis be a similar figure? A character meant to disrupt the status quo and propel humanity toward growth? After Adam and Eve ate the fruit, God pronounced judgment. To the serpent, he said, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all cattle, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you shall go, and you shall eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed, he shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." This curse turned the serpent into a perpetual symbol of chaos and conflict. Yet, within this judgment lies a glimmer of hope, a promise of redemption. The seed of the woman would one day triumph over the serpent, signaling humanity's ultimate victory over sin and rebellion. Here's the lingering question: was the serpent's role in the fall part of God's plan all along? If God is omniscient, the placement of the tree and the serpent in the garden couldn't have been accidental. Could it be that humanity's journey toward knowledge and redemption was not only foreseen but necessary? The Genesis narrative might not be as simple as a tale of disobedience and punishment. It could be a profound story about growth, free will, and the cost of stepping into greater understanding. Ultimately, the serpent symbolizes humanity's eternal struggle with temptation, the pursuit of knowledge, and the consequences of our choices. Whether seen as a villain or a catalyst, it challenges us to think deeply about our own lives. What do you think? Was the serpent evil, or was it something more? Let's discuss in the comments. If you found this thought-provoking, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the Bible's most fascinating stories.